Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to?
Welcome again to Street Talk. My name is Ahmad Shakaraki. And on Street Talk, we deal with political, social, and economics here in Michigan, across the U.S., and across the waters. And we have a bunch of things going on over there, wars and all this thing, and it's really, to me, really a shame what the U.S. is letting go on in Israel. Israel killing a lot of people, you know, talking about one of the terrorists in this place, they killed 25 or 30 people. One's over here, they killed, you know. But on that, I'm going to meet my guest.
Dennis Burnside.
Paget Maynard.
Okay, man, we've got a lot to talk about, but Dennis, you was telling us something about
polls and predictions.
And predictions.
And before I go there, I just want to concur with what you said is going on in Gaza. They had a bombing this past, I think it was Friday, that killed 150 innocent people.
Yeah.
It's a slaughter. And it looks as if it's just an effort to clear the land with genocide so that the European descendant population of Israel can dominate the area. It's just flat out genocide and settler colonialism at its most egregious form. But we've seen this before. But I want to go to the polls on the upcoming election. Over the past several weeks, if not months, my good friend to the right of Ma Shakaraki, he has been running around with feathers molting off of him, talking about what black men are going to do and Trump might win and black folks,
I didn't say Trump might win. No.
Every time you go to the Y, talk to some 20-year-old black dude, you panic.
I always believe that she's going to be the winner. But at the same time, talk about.
Well, like I told you, 82% is the floor for any black candidate running. That's what Biden got. That's what Obama got. That's what Clinton got. You're going to get 82% of black people, irrespective of gender.
Okay.
And the big push for the Trump campaign in this election cycle has been young black men, but young black men in particular.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of talk.
Yeah.
If you turn on a game this past weekend, college or pro, invariably you were going to see a commercial featuring this young man who calls himself Charlemagne the God and his sidekicks. And it's one of the most popular podcasts in the world. They have millions of viewers. And they made their hay talking about hip-hop, cars, girls, young people stuff. And in the last few years, they've been delving into economics and politics. And I think they finally figured out that politics ain't their lane, because they had someone come to them and make a claim that Kamala Harris, as if she wrote the legislation and signed it into law, as a U.S. senator, supported this effort to take money from taxpayers, hand it to prisoners, and facilitate gender change surgery, okay? And they made hay of this. Oh, it was outrageous. And you had the barbershops and black people all over the country, according to this commercial, up in arms.
Yeah.
They even ended the commercial with this elderly black woman holding Trump like he's a savior, right? You've seen this commercial.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let's dig into that a little bit. Turns out that the legislation that allowed for the paying of gender reassignment inside of the federal prisons was signed into law by some cat by the name of Donald J. Trump. And the legislation was passed by a political group, the GOP. Now, they did this. Now, they had Democratic support because you have some people who are cognizant of the fact that people who recognize that their body is not matching how they feel about themselves from a gender perspective, whatever the rationale is or whether it's true or not, often look to get gender reassignment surgery, and somehow is recognized as being the humane thing to do. And the GOP and Donald Trump signed it into law. They started this ad campaign, blaming it on Kamala Harris for some reason, because she was a U.S. Senator at the time. And boy, people went buck wild with this. And then when the news came out that it was actually a GOP initiative signed into law by Trump, a lot of people, including this cat Charlemagne the God, had egg on their face. Well, Charlemagne the God and his boys hit the Trump campaign with a cease and desist suit. Did they cease? No. Did they desist? No. It's out there now, which goes to show if your thing is hip-hop, stay in hip-hop. That's your lane. If your thing is cars and advising people how to buy rental properties and flip them and make money, stay in that lane. But when it comes to geopolitics, that's not for little boys.
No.
That's for grown folks who've been around the block and know what's going on. So that campaign was part of an overall effort by the GOP to claim that there was this mass movement afoot of black men over to the GOP camp. Well, I've been skeptical of it, as you guys have heard me say on this show many times. I think that 82% floors is still intact. Well, we come to find out this weekend, ABC ipso facto poll said that 84% of young, not middle-aged, not elderly black men, 84% of young black men support Kamala Harris in this campaign. 94% of young black women support Kamala Harris. And then we have some more polls I want to read for you guys, and these are even more interesting. And I'm going to save the Hispanic people for last because of what happened in Madison Square Garden yesterday. And we'll talk about that more in depth. But it's interesting. At one time, Trump had a +3 advantage over the Democrats with white men with college degrees. That's been obliterated. It's been obliterated to the extent that Harris now is up 4 in that category with college-educated white men. That's a 7-point swing. You don't see that very often.
No.
Biden had a 9-point advantage with white college-graduated women. That's up to 23 with Harris. That's the election. That's election right there. And then you go look at college graduates overall. Biden was up +12. Harris is up +22. If you look at black women in this poll, Biden was up 81 with black women. Harris 88. We've already talked about black men. But here's the thing that's real interesting. Hispanics were, Hispanic women were up 13 with Biden. They're up 19 with Harris. Hispanic men were up 33 with Biden. They're only up 30 with Harris, but that was before yesterday. What happened yesterday? We had a political rally at Madison Square Garden, which was curious in its location and its timing. New York is not a swing state.
No.
New York is deep blue. New York City is deep blue. Yeah, you've got Long Island and you've got some areas there that are conservative. But Trump's not going to win. So why would he go to New York and have this rally?
That's what I was wondering.
Well, you go back to 1939. In 1939, the United States Nazi Party had a rally in Madison Square Garden where they laid out their support for Adolf Hitler and the Nazi movement and the right-wing authoritarian movement. It featured goose-stepping and Nazi saluting the whole 9 yards. Damn near on the anniversary of that occurrence, the GOP decides it's a good idea to try to replicate that. And at this rally, they had some of the most racist speakers come out. They had a comedian come out and make a joke about a trash island in the middle of the ocean called Puerto Rico. They made jokes about talking about some black politician, could have been the coon down in North Carolina, I forget which one. Rather than carving pumpkins for Halloween, they got with him and carved watermelons. Ha, ha, ha. I mean, the whole thing, from misogynistic to overt racism to just hate speech. Trump got up there and they had to bleep every other word. He was so profane, so base. They did this a week before the election, a little over a week before the election, and they denigrate a group that they had a shot at really increasing. They weren't going to increase black men like everybody was afraid of, but they had a legitimate shot with some Latino voters. Well, now, oh, brother, that's over with. You're going to see numbers now that we haven't seen for Kamala Harris among Latino voters, among white women, among white men, and among black electorates that you haven't seen in decades. If Trump was trying to lose the election,
he did it.
He couldn't have done a better job than what he did in Madison Square Garden yesterday. So all this fear about what you hear from cats at the Y, throw it out the window.
Well,
man. Black men ain't voting for Trump.
Well, we know all of that, but the thing I heard during the last 5 or 6 days was that the Hispanics who've been here are the ones, the most high percentage of people talking about the border. Hispanics who've been here, and they were saying that the Hispanics who've been here said, well, when people talking about the border, oh, they ain't talking about me, you know.
Well, it's the crab in the barrel thing.
Yeah.
But it's not enough to make a demographic impact on the election. You do have people of Mexican descent, of Honduran descent, of Dominican descent, et cetera, who are hard on border politics and immigration, illegal immigration. But that doesn't mean that in the face of their options in this upcoming election, they were ever going to vote for Trump in a majority fashion. After this weekend, as a matter of fact, I think the chance for Trump getting anything other than Cuban voters in a number that's impactful for him is nil. It's gone. I think the man is on something different. I think his plan to win, again in quotation marks, win this election has nothing to do with who casts votes for him. I think they have a scheme involving the legislature and a few compliant court members that they're going to try to not certify votes in certain areas to throw things into confusion enough that they can take it to the House and say, the House, you decided.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to work. I think people are going to see through this. But my point is, I think that's Trump's strategy. I think Trump realizes numbers ain't there for him.
And they already
two things with that though.
They already talking about Georgia. They've been talking.
Oh yeah. Georgia's just one example.
Yeah. But you were saying, Patrick.
They have already had a whole host of lawsuits filed. So far, they've been losing everyone that was heard. Nothing cooking for them. All right. Then, in terms of who wins, Trump is setting the stage right now. I mean, for some time now, he's been doing it, so that at the end, when he loses, he's not talking so much about winning. It's more that if he doesn't win, it was an unfair election, it was rigged and whatnot. And he has his people, and I don't know this guy's name, but one of his people the other day was saying how they have all these lawyers and whatnot all over. So they're planning to make a case now before elections, so that after the election, when he loses, they run into their people, and they're going to try to go back to the Capitol.
Vice President Harris, she said on one of these interviews last week that they had lawyers ready too.
Well, the Democratic Party already has an entire brigade of lawyers in place, and they're ready for this.
Yeah,
because it's a salacious, desperate attempt to overcome the will of the people, and people see through that.
Yeah.
But when you're inside that Trump bubble, here's an example. You had Rudy Giuliani on stage Sunday talking Yesterday.
Night, yes.
So at this
I
Trump rally
heard
in Madison Square Garden talking about how they're doing this and they're doing that. Well, the good news is you could talk all the ish you want to, but when it comes down to the law, outside of the Supreme Court, we know they're corrupt. But when it comes down to the law, and when it comes down to the legal system, most people adhere to the law as it's written. And as a result of what Rudy Giuliani did in Georgia, trying to overturn certification of the vote there,
those people.
he was ordered to turn over his fleet of cars, 2 luxury apartments, all kind of luxury watches, and cars to Ruby Freeman and her daughter, the 2 election workers who sued him because they lost their security, their safety, their peace of mind, the ability to enjoy their home.
Right.
Now, they won this lawsuit almost a year ago, maybe a little bit more than a year ago.
Yeah.
But now the rubber's meeting the road. They're they're going in there and taking this man's property from him and saying to him, this is the fruit of your illegal labor. Now, Chris Lasiva, I think his name is, one of Trump's campaign managers. He's being sued right now by the state of Pennsylvania. Elon Musk is being sued right now by the state of Pennsylvania for this illegal lottery he's getting out.
Yes.
So all these extra legal and unethical tactics they're using to try to stay in this race are being knocked down one after another. And what it really comes down to is they recognize that in a scenario where you have to count votes, who gets the most people to agree with you and says, I cast my vote in support of you, they know they're lacking.
Yeah.
They know they're lacking. They're in danger of losing Senate races where they should ostensibly have landslide victories. And I think people
Texas
are tired of, Trump comes out and he talks about the United States as a garbage can.
Yeah.
Every time you turn around, the GOP is talking down how this country is no good.
Yeah.
And people are getting sick and tired of hearing this kind of stuff.
Don't you realize there's a little truth to that? Think about it. What was his name? The Trump family. What was his name?
It was Trump.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're here. So we allowed garbage here in them.
Yeah.
Think about it.
Yeah. Well, Musk. Musk is a South African who had his teeth cut on apartheid, and you think that's not what he's after here?
Yeah.
Peter Thiel.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
These guys are racist to the core, and if they were to get their way, this is the kind of thing that they would try to bring into fruition, where you have a class of citizens who have full rights, and then you have a subservient class, and you have a lot of concentration camps, and you have mass deportation. They're talking about deporting millions of people.
But Trump
But
said
that's
it
the
over
point,
and over.
man. That's the point. When you have young black men sitting on sitting in their studios giving a podcast and bringing in people like Byron Donalds, and allow him to spew this crap unfiltered and uncontested.
Yep.
And then when the rubber meets the road and your own people say, man, quit tomming, man, quit cooning for these people. They hate us and they hate you too.
Yeah.
And then they're, I didn't mean that. I'm gonna sign a cease and desist law. No, man, it's too late now.
Yeah.
They're using it in commercials.
Yeah.
You can say cease and desist all you want to. They're going to slow play that until after the election. And then they're going to say, yeah, you're right, we'll cease.
Yeah.
But your reputation is in the trash can because you were too ignorant and too unsophisticated to understand how this game really works. And they play dirty.
Yeah.
They play dirty, man. And they're not trying to be fair with you.
No.
And if you come out there, man, saying things like Kamala Harris is a tramp. You had Le'Veon Bell, played football right here in East Lansing, local guy.
Yeah.
It could be a hero.
Yeah.
He's seen on TV wearing the Tramp or Trump T-shirt. I mean, brother, what's wrong with you, man?
Wait a second.
Don't you have a black mother?
Yeah.
Don't you have sisters?
Yeah.
Don't you care about women in particular? I don't care what race. Don't you love somebody?
Yeah, that's one of the things
What's wrong with you?
That's one of the things that's just like, it's like all of these black men out here You know, again, I have to go back to some I've been talking to. But anyway, one guy said, "Oh, man, we this country we don't need no lady president." And I says to him, I said, "Wait a minute, who brought you into this world?
Yeah.
Who brought you into this world?
Yeah.
Didn't the lady bring you in this world?
No, it's Trump.
Who was Sojourner
Trump
Truth?
did it,
You know,
man. Trump did it.
Who was Sojourner Truth? You know, who was Ida B. Wells? You know."
You see, the unfortunate thing is, Ahmad, they don't know what they ought to have known.
Yeah.
And they just follow the stupidity of Donald. And I mean, he has the gall to talk about Kamala as being low IQ. And this fool used to be in Fox. He yapped his mouth off and finally got rid of him.
Yeah.
But when they come talking about low IQ, I say, I wonder if they really understand what IQ means.
It's a racist trope.
I know.
That's all it is.
But you see,
You walk in a room with black skin, ipso facto, you're less intelligent.
Oh,
That's what they're
yes.
saying.
Yeah.
So you have Kamala Harris, who's been a high achiever,
Yeah.
great grades in high school,
Yeah. Yeah.
great grades in college,
Yeah.
great grades in law school,
Yeah.
Attorney General California,
Yeah.
the first
Oh,
female,
that
and
lazy
first
woman?
black, Senate, vice president,
Yeah.
achieved at every level. She's got low IQ.
Yeah.
But we listen to her, and she sounds very urbane with a very advanced vocabulary.
Yeah.
And she seems to have a grasp of the issues. And then we listen to Trump, who sounds like a fourth grade boy.
Yeah. Can't put
no,
a,
you're too
Everything's
high.
great.
Second
Everything's
grade.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, he sounds like a little
Can't even
kid.
put a sentence together.
And
Can't
he's getting
complete a
worse.
sentence.
And out of his mouth, he has the nerve to talk about somebody's IQ.
Yeah.
That's projection.
Yeah.
A lot of
we
what
know
they
that.
do,
He's good at it.
they start talking about, the criminal element here, and
yes.
they're going to rig it there. They're projecting because that's their plan. The only thing they can do is rig an election. The only thing they can do is commit crimes to increase
But then
their wealth.
who they charge at
A
that?
34 felony convicted man is going to talk about somebody's criminal
Yeah.
background.
Criminal
Yeah.
background.
Yeah.
And look, and there are more to come. There are many, many more to come. Another 50 years more to come.
Yeah.
There was a report today. I haven't seen. It was in a commentary, so it's not reporting. But according to this commentator, he says he knows on good authority that Jack Smith plans to bring charges against 200. Did you hear me how he said? 200 GOP congresspeople for their role in January 6th in the election of 2020. That's how pervasive it was. And that's how obvious it was. So you've already got Trump. It's just a matter of getting him. It's just a matter of getting him on the stand with the Bible. We've seen what he's doing with this Eileen Cannon fraud down in Florida.
Yeah.
He's talking about if he wins, he wants to make her attorney general.
Yeah.
It's just it's banana republic corruption
Yeah.
at its
Yeah.
finest.
Yeah.
But the chickens are not coming home to roost
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
They gotta win this election.
Yeah. And he said,
Yes.
if he wins, Jack Smith.
he'll fire him on day one.
Day one, he's gone.
The next
But you
2 hours, he said.
And that is why it's so very important that we encourage everybody, get out there now, vote.
Yeah. Yeah.
They start counting the early votes.
Saturday
here.
was the
Saturday,
day. Saturday was
because
the
I
day.
voted
So
Saturday.
So a whole host gone already.
Yeah. It was.
And we know the way it sounds. Boy, God knows. I want to see at least 60 Democrats in the Senate and a good 300, if possible, in the House.
Well,
Well, the good
because
news
you know
is-
that the good thing on that. Remember, the House is in session before January 6th,
yeah.
which means when they try their shenanigans and want to have they don't count this and we have to send it back to the House.
Yeah.
Who will be sitting there? The Democrats.
Yeah. And she says that if she wins, Vice President Harris. Instead of 60 votes, they're going to be 51.
Well, she's trying to get rid of the filibuster.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Which is
I really think they should.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the filibuster, the Electoral College, all these are vestiges of people trying to hold on to power because they don't have the numerical ability to hold on to it.
I question this just for a quick minute. The college. Why is it some people are having 2 bites at the cherry? Democracy is one man, one vote.
You're asking this rhetorically, right? Because you already know the answer.
I want it out there.
Well, Wyoming, for example, which has, 175 people, has 2 senators. California, which has, 20 million?
Yeah.
Maybe 30?
Yep. 20.
They have 2 senators.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Now, how does that make sense?
Everybody.
Well, it's a vestige, and the same thing with the Electoral College. You have states that have electors assigned to it based on their population, but the reason why it was brought up in the first place is because at the start of the country, the southern states said it's not fair. We don't have as many eligible voters as you have. Wait a minute. You got hundreds of thousands of people in Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia. What do you mean? Well, they're not white people. See?
Right.
They're black people.
Yeah.
You have more white people who can vote because women couldn't vote either.
No.
And non-property white men couldn't vote.
Right.
So the Electoral College was brought in as a way to balance the scales, and they said what we're going to do is we're going to create a system that says we assign an elector for each X amount of people. I forget what the original formula was. And what we're going to do for you Southerners down there is we're going to count your enslaved Africans as 3/5 of a human being. So for each one, you get 3/5 of a representation in the Electoral College.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why it came about in the first place. And if you look at it today, the Electoral College is the reason why you have a GOP majority in many of the elections that we've had. Bush certainly didn't win the popular vote.
Right.
The way the Senate rules are set up is the reason why you have so many. And in fact, you have right now just flat out unmitigated voter suppression.
Yeah.
You're preventing people who should have the right to vote from voting. If Texas was fair, if Texas had real democracy, it would already be blue.
Yeah.
It would already be blue. But you have so much voter suppression out there.
How much time we got?
So you're looking at, we've got 3 minutes. You're looking at a system that needs to be overhauled, but you can't do that until you get a critical mass of voters in the House and the Senate. And I think that's why Kamala is so brilliant with her idea that says first thing we need to do is get rid of the filibuster in the Senate.
Yeah,
because it just gums up the works. You can't get anything done.
No, when one guy can sit there and prevent anything else from happening.
And they don't even have to work for it anymore. You used to have to actually stand up and filibuster.
Yeah. Like this
for 22, 3 days.
Yes.
Now all you got to do is say,
Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.